across the fence, the Green Mountain Audubon Center is our backdrop for our monthly Bird Notes program. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson, and as always on the fourth Wednesday of the month, I'm joined by Mark LaBarr, conservation biologist for Audubon, Vermont. Great to see you, and thanks for hosting us today.
More than welcome. It's great to have you down here. You know, I always get up to the studio, so it's nice to be able to have you down here at the Audubon Center.
It's wonderful. Well, today we're going to focus on midwinter bald eagle survey and viewer mail. But before we do that, maybe you could tell us a little bit about the center here and some of the things that you do and the programs that you have.
Sure. So the center's been here for about 50 years, and it's a great place. Not only do I work here, but I live on site as well. It's been doing programming and various different things. We have about 5 miles of trails. We have summer camps. We have our maple sugaring programs that happen every spring, as well as school programs that happen throughout the year. So it's been a great resource for Vermonters, especially here in the Chittenden County area and even beyond that. It is the oldest nature center in the state of Vermont, and was started roughly back in 1964. So a great place, and of course with the viewers, I've talked about the Audubon Center a lot. We run our banding station here, which you came and visited in the past, and so there's a lot of things that folks can come and see out here.
Sounds like a great place to come and spend some time.
Yes, I spend a lot of time here, yes.
All right, let's talk about bald eagles.
Sure. Well, we just finished up our midwinter bald eagle survey. We've talked about this one before. This is a survey that we do in cooperation with the Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department, and it's part of a national survey that's been conducted since the late 70s. And so we just finished the 2-week survey period. We have about 15 like standard routes that we try to do every year, and we're looking for bald eagles. And you know, this first image that we have up is one from Doug Gimler, who's let us use it. You know, an awesome picture of a nice, what we think of as an adult male, or we don't know it's a male, but an adult bald eagle, white head, white tail. And then I have another picture here of another eagle. You know, we're seeing just more and more of them. So we get pictures in all the time. This is from Emily Crawford, and this is from up in Burlington. She works at the Harbor Watch condos, and they have these eagles right out their windows.
And just sitting in trees like that.
Sitting in trees, moving around. She says she can see upwards of 20 sightings a day. It's probably, you know, 1 or 2 of the same eagles that are moving back and forth, but still, some, you know, eagles are just one of those, coming like robins almost.
Yeah, it sounds like they're doing really well.
They are, and this winter's bald eagle survey, we are thinking that we're going to potentially come close to the 51 eagles that we had last year, which was the record for the midwinter bald eagle survey. We had the first surveys, like I said, started in the late 70s. We had our first eagles back in the early 80s. We'd be lucky to see 2 or 3 birds during the wintertime. And now we're up to 51, potentially more on our standardized routes. And then on top of that, we get these sightings. You know, we have potentially 20 to 25 other birds that are out there that we're seeing outside of these standardized routes. So numbers are just really growing with the birds.
How are they doing during breeding season?
So, you know, wintering, they come in, they use Lake Champlain, they use the Connecticut River, they use any of the oftentimes open water bodies, of which there were a lot this year.
Right.
So we tend to have larger numbers in the winter. But during the summertime, Vermont now is getting close to, we're thinking about making the decision to potentially downlist this species. So we had quite a few, more than 20 nesting pairs here in Vermont, with close to just under 35 fledglings this past year. We had our first pairs nesting back in 2002. So again, we see this population increase over time. And the birds are, you know, are showing up again along the Connecticut River, along Lake Champlain. They like those bodies of water.
Open water, right.
And, you know, when we're looking at birds and we are surveying for them, at least in the wintertime, sometimes we pick them up in trees like we were talking about. Sometimes they'll be sitting out on ice. Oftentimes if there's enough ice and people have been fishing and they leave a pile of perch or something out there, the birds will come down to that. So all around, throughout the year, eagles are becoming, a regular sight here in Vermont.
It's a good news story.
It really is, and the Fish and Wildlife Department has been working really hard on this. There was a hacking program that was done several years ago down at Dead Creek. I think you made it down with Margaret Fowle, my coworker.
I did.
As part of the season. So Dead Creek was where Margaret worked with Fish and Wildlife to release bald eagles out to try to get them to come back. And they really have just, kind of run with it. So
and if people haven't been down there recently, it's a great place to go and walk. It's beautiful.
Yes, and it's easy, it's flat, and it's one of the best birding places, even this time of year. Bald eagles are one thing that you can see, but you can also pull in short-eared owls and things of that nature, which you don't normally see around the state.
All right, well, looks like we've got some time for viewer mail.
So this is Fred from down in the Meadowee Valley. Now, if
our friend Fred,
you remember he drove all the way up. He sent in some pictures of his modified bluebird box, which has the slot on the top and that lid. And he brought one up for you.
Right.
And he just wanted to report this year. He said, Mark, a total of, he had 9 slotted nest boxes out, and he had 43 fledglings.
That's amazing.
This year. One nest box had 4 fledglings, he says. The first on at the end of April. So again, bluebirds.
Early.
Yeah, we're not that far from.
Right. I better clean my boxes out.
Yeah. I mean, that time is upon us. When you think about it, you want to be ready by March, which is a couple of months away. But he does right here. He says, I gave Judy Simpson one of my boxes, but never heard if she had any success with it.
We did. We had a family of bluebirds use the box. There are 2 fledglings, and they hung around for a long time.
Really?
I have a picture, a very blurry picture of all 4 of them on my bird bath.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. So that
yes,
design seems to be a successful design. So, and folks can call in to me or ask, and I'm sure we could get some, some instructions on how to build that. But a little different from the usual box, which has that central hole.
Right, right. Well, also we have a letter now from Ray Goddard about bluebirds. He said he went to get my paper this morning around 6 o'clock, and this bluebird flew in the entryway, kept circling around the entryway. Got my camera, took these pictures when he was clinging to the doorway, held my hand out, and he went right into my hand. This is my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And I believe him. As somebody that handles a lot of birds over time, these 2 shots of him, obviously that bird got a little bit trapped and was trying to go through a screen or something, and he was able to get his hand there, and you can see that bird is sitting perched right up there, and it's one of those. I do, like I said, handle birds a lot, but for a lot of people, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing to be able to, take that bird, and I'm sure he got it outside and released it back out to the wild. So,
very exciting.
Yeah. It sounded like, he was happy that he got those pictures. Otherwise, people might not have believed him. Yes. So here is a letter and some pictures from Phyllis Ricker. She writes, Mark, I'm sending you a couple of pictures I think are a winter wren. I've never seen one here before, but this one has spent quite a bit of time on my porch recently. Is that what it is? And she did send a couple of pictures, and they're 2 nice pictures of a wren, for sure, but this is a Carolina wren. And we talk about this on occasion every once in a while. This is a bird that oftentimes is seen in the wintertime. It's a kind of a new addition to Vermont's bird fauna. It is a bird that is popping up in the Champlain Valley, Connecticut River Valley. That white eye line across the top of the eye really kind of denotes it as a Carolina wren. A winter wren would be much smaller, and they've migrated south at this point in time. So that would be a winter wren this time of year would be really good, but these are definitely Carolina wrens.
We also have a nice picture from Jean and Bob Ertl from Fairfax.
Yeah, here's just, they took a picture. This is a nice cardinal. It's got a nice fall red background, so it's always nice to even, sometimes people poo-poo cardinals a little bit because they're a pretty common bird.
But it's nice to see that flash of color.
It is, especially in the wintertime. Here we have it on that backdrop of red, but in the wintertime it's, it's often, and oftentimes you can see them we get reports of people seeing 10, 15 of them at one time, so that splash of red can certainly brighten up some of those cold gray days that we have.
Well, speaking of flocks, I've noticed flocks of robins.
Yes, and it's interesting because we get reports every year about robins,
Right.
and somebody went back and looked through some of the records, and it's not uncommon for our Christmas bird counts to pull in more than a couple thousand robins during the wintertime. So again, if there's food around, and this is like the Burlington count that picks up a bunch of these, if there's food around in the form of ornamentals, things of that nature, ornamental shrubs or apples and things, those birds will stick around, and they're pretty hardy. They're right up there. We'll see bluebirds this time of year too. So,
right.
They're some of the first ones back. I have one letter here from Barbara Noble of Bethel. She says, enjoyed your recent program on Across the Fence concerning blue bird feeding. And she talks about a downy woodpecker, which appears to eat in a reaching position. It will pick at a few seeds out in an upright position, but then tips on its side. Is this common or lazy? So I don't know what's up with this woodpecker. Obviously, it's getting some food, and I'm guessing that it turns sideways. Woodpeckers have what we call zygodactyl feet, so they've got, really grippy feet that helps them obviously get up and down the trees and stuff like that. And so for them to turn sideways, upside down, right side up is probably not a very difficult thing to do.
Right, pretty common.
Yeah. So
We've also been getting reports of lots of crows.
Yep. The crow, this time of year, crows are pretty common, especially when they're going to their winter roost flocks. Burlington has a couple. We've talked about this before. Because Burlington has a lot of lights, it tends to provide some protection for the crows. So you often find these large roosting areas of crows in the wintertime in areas that have quite a bit of light. And they glean a little protection from them from great horned owls, which would be their primary predator this time of year.
And now how do you tell the difference between a crow and a raven other than size, if they're not side by side?
Size is one way. The one way I like to do it is the raven tail feathers end in a wedge shape. So if you see them flying, it's kind of wedge-like, and a crow will have a straight edge on the tail.
Right.
So if you can get a look at it, the birds flying, you can tell them apart that way.
Any reports of any unusual sightings? Every once in a while, every year, there's always something that...
Yeah, I haven't, some of the, like I said, the short-eared owls down at Dead Creek is a good one. There are, reports of our snow buntings and horned larks, which are, birds that we would normally see. Down at Dead Creek is a great place to see them. So nothing outstanding that we've had, but once we do hear about it, you'll be the first to know.
Before we go today, let people know a little bit more about visiting the Green Mountain Audubon Center in Huntington.
Yeah, so folks can get a lot of information on our website at vtaudubon.org, or you can just Google Audubon, Vermont, or the Green Mountain Audubon Center. It is the offices for Audubon, Vermont, the state program. They can get trail maps, updates on their programs, programs that we're having. One of which is down at the train station at Main Street Landing on the 27th of...
And that's in Burlington.
And that's in Burlington, thank you. On the 27th of January, it's the National Audubon Photo Awards. People can find out more information about attending that. And so these are pictures that are sent in all over, and Audubon Vermont is excited to be able to host that and show that around. So again, our website is our best place, or you can always call. The information you usually give at the end of the program.
And as you mentioned that, if you have a bird-related question, please pass it along to Mark. You can write to him here at Audubon, Vermont. The address is 255 Sherman Hollow Road in Huntington. The zip code is 05462. You can also email your questions to Mark. His email address is mlabarr@audubon.org. Send Mark your questions, and he'll try to find answers for you on an upcoming edition of Bird Notes. Thanks so much for having us here today.
Oh, hey, great. Anytime. Come on down anytime.
Okay. Well, that's our program for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.